This is Akashvani. In the program Spotlight, now we bring you an interview with UPSC Civil Services Exam 2023 topper Aditya Srivastava. Interviewer is Divakar, Akashvani correspondent.
Listeners, welcome to our special interview segment in the program Spotlight. We have with us Mr. Aditya Srivastava, who has secured rank 1 in UPSC Civil Services examination. With his dedication and hard work and unwavering commitment, he has not only cleared the UPSC exam but also inspired countless aspirants on their journey towards civil services. Today, we have the privilege of delving into his insightful experience, strategies, and valuable advice that propelled him to success. Aditya Srivastava ji, welcome to Akashvani. Many congratulations on your great achievement.
Thank you so much, sir.
My first question is, Aditya ji, what was your first reaction when you got the news that you have topped the civil services exam?
Sir, actually, it was a mixed reaction. So initially, it took a bit of time to sink in. But once it sinked in, then I was ecstatic. And I think there is even a video going viral showing how me and my friends reacted when we first heard the news.
What has your journey been like? Where were you born and brought up? Your early education? When was the time you become serious and started aspiring for civil services? Could you share with our listeners?
So I was born and brought up in Lucknow itself. And my initial schooling was from CMS Aliganj, a school in Lucknow. So as regards as civil services preparation is concerned, I would say that from the childhood itself, there were some elements that which said that I should be civil servant, but the opportunities that life threw at me, they diverted me towards the corporate sector as well. But once I went to Goldman Sachs, which was the company where I worked, there I realized that I should get into civil services because of certain reasons.
You are an IIT graduate and you were doing good in life. So, what made you switch your career and prepare for civil services?
Yes, sir. So when I was working in Goldman Sachs, which was a corporate job, I realized that I wanted to do something which has much more grassroots connect and people interface. And in that sense, civil services seemed to be the perfect choice. So I decided to switch to civil services. Apart from that, there was also the factor of personality development, which seemed to be more holistic if you work in civil services because of the kind of diversity and people connect that you get.
Aditya ji, my next question is, what was your preparation like for examination? Did you opt for coaching or it was just a self-study?
Sir, I did self-study from my home itself. I took few test series here and there, but the core part of my preparation was on my own, from my home itself.
Adit, clearing exam is one thing, but securing first rank is completely different phenomena. Your strategy must have been different from others for men's. Could you share a bit about it with our listeners?
My main strategy was continuous answer writing. For example, every day I used to write 10 to 15 questions between prelims and mains. I'd got some guidance from a mentor as well. And apart from that, the other part of the strategy was continuous practice every day for electrical as well. So my optional was electrical. I denoted half time for GS and half time for electrical each day. And my core focus was on practice because this was my second attempt at mains as well. I devoted less time to theory and much more time to practice.
And what about the optional subject? Why did you choose the particular subject? As you said, it was electrical. So, what was the strategy behind choosing this subject only?
Sir, actually, I have a background in electrical engineering. I'm a BTech MTech dual degree holder from IIT Kanpur. And I always thought that it would be already know because I would be able to cover more of it in less amount of time. So that was the reason why I chose this particular optional.
And what about the essay writing? What kind of a strategy it should be? I mean, in your point of view, what would be the strategy for any aspirant to prepare for essay writing and also the ethics, which is being considered as scoring paper?
I think in those two subjects, it is important to have your own notes. Like what are the exact pointers which you would like to touch in a particular kind of essay or in a particular type of answer of ethics. So those kind of notes should be really handy. Apart from that, in essay, for example, in philosophical essays, which I used to write a lot, the important thing is to break the topic, ask questions and counter questions on the 5 Ws and one about the particular topic, and also find out the counter dimensions to that particular topic. So that kind of multi-dimensional approach became very handy for me in breaking down the essay and writing a good essay. And in ethics too, these kind of things work a lot because when you look at a particular problem holistically, from the view of various stakeholders, then you are able to generate pointers which are unique and also multidimensional. So I think these are the things which could help in both these subjects.
And what would be your suggestions for people who are aspiring to become civil servant and who are preparing for civil services examination when it comes to choosing optional subject?
So for optional, I would say that the most important thing is to ascertain whether you would be able to give the right amount of time to the particular optional. Because if you don't have interest in that particular optional and you choose optionals like mathematics or electrical engineering, do justice to them because they require regular practice. So the amount of interest as well as whether you would be able to complete the syllabus in the time you want to allot. These are the two critical factors which one should consider while choosing optional.
Could you share some effective revisioning techniques that worked for you while doing preparation?
So my way of revising was such that during the first time I would just read the text. Second time I would use pencil to underline the key points that I am seeing. Third time I started using pen and then circling the keywords which would help me retain that entire sentence if it is important. And in the end I started using highlighters. So that were the layers of revision that I did and how I did. Entire statements by just retaining one word. So I think that was an effective revision strategy for me.
How was your experience preparing for interview and facing interview?
So preparation for interview is subjective because most of the time we prepare our DAF and current affairs, etc. But most of the interviews goes on such lines where you are not expecting. So whatever naturally comes to your mind actually comes out of your mouth too. So in that way, I think interview was a bit challenging. But then is the way to know your natural personality also. So I think the best way is to stay as natural as possible and not go for too many mocks or too much fine-tuning of personality, and rather stay natural and see where it goes.
So Aditya, you had already secured 236th rank in 2022 examination, and then what change did you make to achieve the top position this time?
I analyzed the various mistakes I was making in my previous attempts, specifically in GS1, GS4 and electrical. And I tried to rectify them by talking to various batchmates who had scored good in those subjects. So I identified what exactly I was doing wrong and then worked on it, practiced it, made notes out for mentions and then tried to implement them in the final exam.
Aditya, how did you balance your studies and other activities during preparation? What was your social life like? Did you stay away from social media?
No, sir, I was actually active on social media even during my preparation days. So my time during the day was denoted in such a way that most of the time went in studies. But then too, I was giving time to social media as well as to my other hobbies like running or maybe reading about dinosaurs, etc. So I tried to keep it all balanced in order to have a preparation which would not make me burn out.
What was your third attempt? How you were motivating yourself to prepare again and again for the examination?
Sir, I would say that initially it was a bit difficult because in the first attempt I had failed in prelims itself. So there it needed a bit of more back and start preparing again, finding out my mistakes, etc. In which my family played a crucial role in helping me. But in the second attempt, I would say that I had already got into one service, which was my second preference. And hence it became a bit easier for me and a bit less to prepare again and try to bounce back by identifying mistakes and rectifying them. So I think the motivation worked in that ways for me.
And what were the biggest challenge you faced while preparing for the examination and how did you overcome them?
It was always the monotonous life that we get into when we start preparing for UPSC. And also the kind of challenges like answer writing speed, etc., which take a physical toll on the body as well, apart from the mental. So I tried to tackle both of them via a bit I could do in the evening. That's how I tried to tackle the monotonicity as well as these aspects.
Any memorable experience from your journey to becoming UPSC topper you would like to share?
I would say the most important was the happiness which I saw on the faces of my parents in the second attempt as well as more importantly in the third attempt, now that I've got rank 1. So I think that is the most memorable moment throughout this journey.
So after joining the service, what will be your first task when you assume that post? And what kind of idea you have when you will join the service? What would be your first task?
So from what I have known so far from my seniors, the first task that I would probably have would be to know the job better. Because when you newly get into the service, you don't know much how the ground realities work. So getting an initial hold and then trying to go after implementing the various schemes would be the step initially, I think.
And what are some of the changes you wish to see on ground as civil servant? What will be your key areas of focus during service? Do you have any such list?
Sir, I would say that in the kind of service I'm getting into, so my primary objective would be to implement the government schemes that the government is making to the best of my ability during the initial years. And once I reach the level of where I am able to formulate policies, then I would definitely like to work for health, education, and specifically for children. That's my thought currently.
Health, education, and children. Could you elaborate a bit more about these areas where you would like to focus?
We see that on the various kind of health indicators, like if I talk about my very own state, then on the various categories of human development indicators, it has been a bit behind. So I think with the kind of economic growth that we are seeing in specifically UP, the next focus should be to improve the indicators related to schooling or maternal mortality, infant mortality. So I think I would like to work on those dimensions initially, apart from game-based learning, etc., which would help the children grasp the various subjects much faster than they are doing currently.
And one more question. You are from engineering background. How did you propose to use that knowledge during your service?
So there are multiple aspects to it. Actually, with the engineering background, we naturally try to find solutions for all the problems that we see. So that kind of problem-solving attitude is itself an added advantage. Apart from that, if we go into specific, electrical engineering itself has wide options and wide implementations in the administration, including not just from solar, but also going into the domain of virtual reality, using VR for training purposes, etc. So there are what can implement our engineering knowledge.
So what will be your advice to the aspirants who are preparing for UPSC Civil Services examination?
The broader advice would be that one should try to do as much as one can while being self-motivated, and always remember that hard work along with smart work is necessary to be consistently followed in order to do good and well in this examination.
Lastly, we have come to learn, and as you also mentioned, that you like studying about dinosaurs in your free time. Tell us more about it.
So this was an interest which developed very initially in my life. Like I think I was in nursery or KG when I saw the movies Godzilla, Jurassic Park, etc. And they developed my interest in dinosaurs. So I started reading about the critical analysis of those movies. And slowly that started developing into a general interest about dinosaurs. That's how my affinity for dinosaurs developed.
As we draw this inspiring conversation to a close, we extend our heartfelt gratitude to Mr. Srivastava, our esteemed guest and UPSC topper, for sharing his invaluable insights and experiences with us. Aditya ji, thank you so much for your valuable time.
Thank you so much.
You were listening to an interview with UPSC Civil Services Exam 2023 topper Aditya Srivastava. Interviewer was Divakar, Akashvani correspondent. This program was produced and presented by the News Services Division of Akashvani. You can listen to it on our mobile app News on AIR. This program is also available on our YouTube channel News on AIR Official. You may share your feedback about this program through email at airnsdtalks@gmail.com or WhatsApp on 928 909 4044.